Picture this, a devastating straight red card in a massive World Cup knockout match. And then, poof, it just vanishes into thin air. Today in this explainer, we're unpacking one of the wildest, most controversial behind-the-scenes maneuvers in recent football history. We're going to look at how a star player, sent off on the absolute biggest stage, somehow walked away without missing a single minute of the next crucial knockout game.
Because really, how does a straight red card just disappear? That's the ultimate mystery of this tournament. Usually, when an automatic suspension hits, that's it, right? In football, a red card is supposed to be the absolute final word. The judge, jury, and executioner. You commit a serious foul, you see red, hit the showers, and you're sitting out the next match. It's a rule as old as the modern game itself. But, as we're about to see today, the rules aren't actually as rigid as they appear on the surface. There are these hidden mechanisms, buried deep within the rulebooks, that can literally change a team's fate overnight. To really understand how this happens, we've got to rewind to the 64th minute of a truly massive fixture. Let's set the scene. It's the 2026 World Cup, round of 32. The U.S. men's national team is squaring off against Bosnia and Herzegovina. The U.S. is cruising, sitting on a comfortable 2-0 lead, and the stadium is absolutely electric. The host nation is playing with total confidence, the fans are roaring, and everything seems to be going exactly to plan for the Americans. But then, the script completely flips. U.S. striker Folarin Balogun tracks back to contest a loose ball, putting in a challenge on Bosnian defender Tarek Muharamovic. Now, in real time on the pitch, play just carries on. It looks like a standard, maybe slightly clumsy coming together. Two players fighting for possession. But then, here comes VAR. Brazilian referee Rafael Klaus is called over to the monitor. When you slow it right down and zoom in, it shows Balogun's studs landing directly on Muharamovic's ankle. Klaus walks back onto the pitch, reaches into his pocket, and flashes a straight red for serious foul play. The stadium just erupts in boos. Balogun is standing there, looking absolutely bewildered.
And man, the debate sparked instantly. Was the challenge reckless? For sure. But was it malicious? U.S. head coach Mauricio Pochettino was absolutely furious, pacing the touchline. He pointed out that this was a normal football action that happened entirely by accident. It's what pundits love to call a classic orange card situation. You know the type, a foul that looks incredibly violent, like a literal leg breaker when you put it in super slow motion, but in the fast-paced reality of the game, it completely lacks the malicious intent we usually associate with a straight red. But here's the harsh reality. Intent totally goes out the window once that card leaves the referee's pocket. Under standard FIFA rules, a red card is final. You literally cannot appeal a referee's factual decision made on the pitch. You can't just say, hey, he didn't mean it, and get the card overturned. And a straight red carries a massive, automatic consequence, a one-game suspension. For the U.S., this meant their star striker was automatically ruled out of their absolute blockbuster round of 16 match against Belgium, a devastating blow to the host nation's momentum.
But just when everyone thought Balogun's fate was completely sealed, we get a major plot twist from Switzerland. The FIFA Disciplinary Committee didn't technically overturn the referee's red card, because, again, they can't actually do that on factual grounds. Instead, they reached for a little-known loophole, Article 27 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code. This highly specific clause actually allows FIFA's judicial bodies to fully or partially suspend disciplinary sanctions.
So how does this actually work mechanically? It is absolutely fascinating. The ruling basically operates in 3 steps. Step 1, the ban is frozen. Balogun doesn't serve his match ban immediately. Step 2, he's placed on a 12-month probationary period. Because the ban is on ice, he is completely free and eligible to step onto the pitch against Belgium. But here's the catch for Step 3. If he receives another straight red card for a serious foul within the next 12 months, boom, that frozen suspension activates instantly, and it gets tacked right on top of whatever new punishment he receives. It's essentially football probation.
Naturally, the U.S. Soccer Federation wasn't exactly going to argue with this incredible reprieve. They welcomed the decision with open arms, putting out a statement saying they were pleased Balogun was eligible. This allowed the entire team to instantly shift their focus away from all the suspension drama and squarely onto the monumental task at hand, that massive knockout match against Belgium in Seattle. The distraction was gone, and their star forward was back in the mix.
Now you might be wondering, did FIFA just invent this rule on the spot to save the host nation? Well, the answer is no. This isn't some brand new invention cooked up specifically for the US. To really grasp this decision, we've got to look back at a major legal precedent set by one of the biggest global icons in the history of the sport.
This totally illustrates a mechanism FIFA has definitely used before. Ahead of a previous tournament cycle, Cristiano Ronaldo was actually facing a multi-match disciplinary ban from prior infractions, which threatened to keep him off the pitch for Portugal's opening matches. So, what did FIFA do? They invoked the exact same Article 27 probation mechanism. They paused Ronaldo's ban, allowing the global superstar to lace up his boots and play on the world's biggest stage. By doing this for Ronaldo first, FIFA proved that the automatic nature of suspensions could indeed be bent to accommodate the sheer star power of a major tournament.
Which of course brings us to a massive systemic debate within the politics of global football governance. Is this a matter of favoritism or is it fairness? When we look at how this rule is actually applied, it raises some pretty serious questions about impartiality. Are these decisions made to ensure a fair outcome when a slow-motion replay unfairly penalizes a player? Or is something else entirely driving the use of this obscure loophole?
Critics of this decision argue vehemently that Article 27 is selectively deployed to protect FIFA's commercial interests. Just think about the drivers at play here. The 2026 World Cup is a massive financial engine, hosted in North America. The U.S. team is a primary commercial driver, and Balogun had already scored 3 goals in the group stage alone. Losing a star striker of that caliber for a primetime knockout match against Belgium would severely damage television ratings, deflate ticket hype, and totally derail the engagement of the casual American fan. For the critics, the financial incentive to keep him on the pitch is just impossible to ignore.
To really understand the depth of this criticism, we have to neutrally observe a glaring historical double standard that people point out. When you compare host nations to smaller nations, the narrative is that a striker from, say, Bosnia, Morocco, or South Korea would almost certainly not get their match ban frozen under Article 27 for an accidental stamp. Historical precedent suggests that smaller footballing nations rarely, if ever, see the FIFA Disciplinary Committee step in to micromanage and freeze their suspensions like this. It creates this perception that the rules are incredibly rigid for the small teams, but surprisingly flexible for the nations and icons that generate the most revenue.
So, how do the players themselves actually handle the immense noise surrounding these decisions? Well, amidst the chaos of the red card, the outrage, and the super controversial reinstatement, Balogun chose to focus on being a role model. He noted that regardless of the controversy, whether you think a situation is totally unjust or not, you have a responsibility to handle things correctly for the kids watching. It's actually a really grounded perspective from a player caught directly in the center of a geopolitical football storm.
Which ultimately leaves us right here. Does Article 27 protect the integrity of the game or just the bottom line? Is it a necessary safety valve to correct harsh, slow-motion refereeing? Or is it basically a VIP pass reserved only for the world's biggest stars and host nations? We've unpacked the rule, the precedent, and the commercial realities. Now I leave you to ponder this double-standard debate and decide for yourself what really motivates these behind-the-scenes structural loopholes in the beautiful game. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep asking those tough questions.